And hopefully we are live. Just double check the audio levels. Yeah, perfect. Microphone coming through. Well, welcome to round 3 of the 1994 Custom Tourer Championship. We're at Autodrom Moss today. Slightly smaller grid than maybe we've seen at other rounds, but still a nice turnout, 14 drivers. And quite a close qualifying session indeed. The times posted, the top 6 drivers within a second of each other, but the top 5 within 4 tenths. So we can expect a pretty close battle for the lead here. Interestingly, some people may be opting for softs off the start, some may be opting for hards. Notably missing from the qualifying results is Toby Larone. That being said, actually I say that he's just set his lap time. Maybe he's just taken a while to set his qualifying time. Toby Larone actually comes across the line with a 1:32.699, which takes him straight into pole position. So I do apologise. I think there's just a few more times waiting to come through. Which now pushes the top 6 within 6 tenths. So, assuming no more surprise lap times, that means that your qualifying grid and your starting order for the race today will be Toby Larone alongside Nari Gunyun, both front row lockout for the Toyota team. Great start for them. They'll be really hoping to capitalise off of this. Terry Nutt for Honda takes 3rd alongside Tito Saavedra in 4th. I believe currently right up there at the front of the championship standings. Nothing's 3rd, but just barely behind the others, and is so far the most consistently to score podiums. Morello Toscanini in 5th, George McGregor 6th, the other Honda, Lux Blandford 7th, Salami 8th, Elwood Donahue 9th, Patricia Fleck 10th, Anna Tarayenko takes 11th, and then the rest of the people did not qualify. Again, hopefully the sound is all okay on the stream. We are now just about to go live with racing. And here we are. Everyone on the grid. There you can see the 2 Toyotas at the front. Lights are up. Get a nice view here of the grid. And there we are. All off. Looks like it's maybe in the stall near the back. Now, the first corner here is quite a tight chicane. Almost Monza style, so this is going to really be a case of who's going to push the braking zone, who's going to maybe make a couple overtakes here. Toyotas both go quite deep. Looks like the Honda went extremely deep though into the runoff. And that is actually going to be Toby Larone now pushing quite far forward. There's the rejoin of Terry Nutt, who will, I'm sure, be looking to give back the time gained from the chicane runoff. May potentially... Oh, there's been a spin further behind that, actually. It looks like there's been some contact between Nari Gunyun and somebody else. Didn't quite catch that, unfortunately. He's going to get back going again. Battling with Severin Williams here. That's going to be very unfortunate for him to try and get back forward now. Williams desperately trying to sort of tag along the sort of second place sitter, so to speak. Not quite pole sitter, but definitely going to want to try and tag along with that. Speaking of as well, McGregor started 6th, has maintained 6th, but Salami seems to have made the jump on the start, so he's going to be looking to try and get back forwards as well. Honda looking a little bit worse for wear, by my eyes. Maybe again a small collision. Oh, and speaking of collision, unfortunately, just going into the rear end of Salami there has spun him round. BMW doesn't seem too affected by it though. Toblerone comes across the line to set the pace really for everybody. Managed to go 2 seconds quicker than anyone else. Obviously, just lap 1 will have proper lap times coming relatively soon. What the heck was that noise? I do apologise on the stream. There's a strange gunshot sound inside a set of Corsa there. Not sure what caused it. We see a board of mayonnaise there. Trying to catch up to Terry Nutt and doing a pretty good job, it appears. Saavedra there just behind. Now if we have a look at the tyre situation, we can see it's an interesting spread. Toblerone is opting for the 2-stop. I did hear this before race start. Other drivers opting for the hards though. Also interesting to note is the level of ballast. Mayonnaise I believe is on quite a heavy amount of ballast here. So come through the S's, quite Suzuka-like this section really. A bit less camber though. Nice little slide past there from Mayonnaise, just to take the position. But Terry Nutt managing to stay on the inside just enough to claim this corner. He's going to kind of try and stick inside a little bit. That has allowed Saavedra now to catch right up to the tail of these two as they battle though. And all the while these two are battling, that's just kind of benefits him really. He can kind of sit back, let them wear their tyres down, and try and make a move forwards. So come through the first chicane, really running as much over these curbs as we can. You can see actually not managing to pull a bit of a gap again on the two drivers. Maybe slightly better exits. All-wheel drive just being a bit of a benefit. That being said, Mayonnaise also in possession of all-wheel drive in their car, but definitely a lot heavier. Maybe the tyre wear and just the general weight of the car causing issues. We are just going to jump a little bit further back as we see this battle between Salami and Aurelio Toscanini. Toscanini again, I think, qualified ahead of Salami, so he's going to be looking to get back forward if he can. Looks like maybe a bit of a lock-up there from Saavedra, just ahead. Nothing too serious, position has been maintained. Honestly, quite a few interesting battles here. Looks like Mayonnaise is going to be looking to hopefully get something going into the first corner if he can. That being said, jumping a little bit further back, Aurelio Toscanini around the outside of Salami, just jumped off just as that fight sort of got to a head, it looks like, unfortunately. However, Salami is going to slipstream. Is he going to try and dive it down the inside? We're going to see. He's gone a little bit late on the brakes. He's got his nose on the inside. That has made Aurelio have to yield the room. However, he's managed to get a really nice line through regardless. Maybe just a bit more confidence, a bit of a better line allowed him to make a good move there. Now Gunyun right behind these two now though. Obviously he's looking very far forward. He sees his teammate in the first 6-second gap to Nutt. He's hoping, can he kind of make a bit more progress forwards if he can. We'll just have a quick look at the tyres. We can actually see he's opted for the hards as well. Toscanini on softs. So if he's also on a 2-stop, this isn't really ideal for him to be stuck battling right now. I'm actually going to jump back forwards once again because we can see Nutt still holding Mayonnaise off quite well here. The Honda generally looking a lot more planted, a lot more stable than the Ford behind. It has to be said. Lots of slides from the purple Mayonnaise or driven Ford. This Toblerone sets a 132.9. Now it is interesting to see that no one's really got super close to that as far as I can see. Everyone's in the 34s. He's almost 1.4 seconds faster than anyone else. Now that is the pace he's going to need if he's going to make the gap that he wants here. There is probably something to be said about Terry Nutt kind of helping, inadvertently helping Lerone out here with his kind of his absolute wall tactics of just really just trying to make sure he's defending as much as he can. And it's kind of worked quite well. I mean, I've just seen Saavedra has managed to actually make a pass on Mayonnaise, who's probably just wasted so much time and so much effort on trying to get past Nut that it's actually ended up not working in the end. And he's really desperately looking for a way past anywhere possible on the drivers ahead. And I really think it's kind of burning himself, really. He's just eating tyre wear up and not actually making much progress forwards, making more progress backwards right now. So we enter the S's section once again. It does seem like there's something about that section that Mayonnaise is definitely doing a little bit quicker than the car ahead. Maybe it's down to the all-wheel drive, not entirely sure. Then just losing a lot of time through these last two corners. You know, it looks very promising most laps. But then just loses time. Speaking of losing time though, that is Terry Nutt into the sand pit. That's going to actually make him lose 3 positions there in one corner. Very unfortunate for him. That kind of has thrown it up a lot in the air right now. Saavedra looking for maybe holding on to second as much as he can. It's really sort of accordion effect there. Everyone really getting bunched up through there. As Toscanini looks potentially for a way around Mayonnaise here. Seems like he can't quite find it in this sector. Saavedra now got the clean air. That being said, Mayonnaise going off the track and completely wide. That's going to give Aurelio the position anyway. Off onto the grass once again. If he's not careful, that's going to put Terry Nutt straight back ahead. That being said, we've also seen Salami and Nari Groen have caught in the background. This is shaping up to be quite a train for second right now. Saavedra 11 seconds to Toby Lerone. This is taking the pressure massively off of the Frenchman in the lead. Almost a full sort of pit stop. Not quite the pit lane stoppage time, but the entire pit stop time at the very least he's got clear right now. Now we do predict he'll have to probably pit in around lap 9 or 10. He may opt to even extend it if he physically can. Especially as he's just set another fast lap. You know, if we have a look at sort of... see if I've quickly got a best lap interval. There we go. You can see the only driver that's even slightly close is George McGregor all the way down in 8th doing a 33.6. Toby Lerone 2 seconds quicker than Saavedra in second on best lap. Toscanini a second and a half slower. I mean, it's truly a domination. Pole position serving him quite well to escape the carnage of the opening laps. As it looks like now Toscanini trying to set up a move on Saavedra, and he's managed it. He's managed to get his nose down the inside. Now it's going to give him the inside line through the first part of this S's. Maybe not quite actually. Seems like maybe just didn't quite have the acceleration on exit, or maybe just the camera angle. Either way, pretty close between this group of 4. It does seem that the gap has extended a tiny bit behind between Gunyun and Salami. I'm just watching that top right, that little track map at the top right we've got, just to see when we might see our first pit stop here today. From the front runner. Or front runners, I should say. Again, it is quite a group, just top sort of 7 drivers, all potentially in with the chance of second right now. Massively, strategy is going to play a massive part into this race. As we see, Toscanini looks down the inside into the first corner. He's got on the brakes nice and in time. Saavedra, however, has managed to hang around the outside, keeps the nose on the inside, but just loses out has to compromise his exit quite a bit. That is Toscanini up into second place. Very good move from the Italian. However, it's very much not done and dusted. That being said, looks like Nutt has actually managed to make a pass on Mayonnaise. The two side by side, maybe not quite as done and dusted as I thought. And that is actually, these two battling has managed to let the drivers behind catch right up. The two rear-wheel drive cars there, the Toyota lovely MR2 of Toyota Unlimited Racing Development, and the BMW of Pico Troberg Racing. A little bit of a lock-up from Saavedra there. Nothing too major, but it has cost a couple of tenths to Mayonnaise, I think. Meanwhile, Nutt has been passed by Gunyun. We're not going to see potentially Salami get past now. Now, is this potentially where we see some people opt for an unequal pit stop and they see this traffic and they think there's a bit of free track behind, 10 seconds behind is pretty clear. Do I take an early pit stop and just go for that, getting that out of the way? Now, it's interesting to note nobody pitting yet. This lap is probably the opening of the pit window for the two stoppers on softs. Late move from Nutt on the inside, gets it stopped. On the switch back, possibly? No, just a very, very good move on the brakes there by Nutt. That being said, Gunyun on the inside now coming into the next section. Now, this might work out for him. It is going to slow both of the drivers down, but he's managed to sort of compromise the Honda enough. That's possibly a double overtake, actually, as the BMW now gets through as well. Very unfortunate for Nutt, but a great bit of positioning by Gunyun. Good racing between Honda and Toyota. However, once again, these three, they've been battling for quite a while so far this race. I don't think this is the end of it. Already, Nutt coming behind Salami. Bit of a lock-up from the BMW, speaking of. Nice bit of flame out of the exhaust there as well, just for the camera. It really is interesting seeing the difference in sort of exits people seem to get through these last two corners as well. BMW opting to go defensive into this second to last corner. Goes really wide, using all the curb available. However, the Honda maybe a slightly better launch out of there. We're going to see slipstreaming down the start-finish straight. Is he going to be close enough to go for a move? He's got about a quarter of a second. He's gone outside, got a bit caught on the grass there. Manages to get stopped, but has to yield the position, follow behind instead. Elwood Donahue pits out of the drivers fighting for the lower down positions. Not been as focused on them. Their battles are just as important, but I think they've been a little bit more spread out. So we might catch up on some of the other battles on track a little bit later on into the race. However, battle for third place continues as Toscanini now runs away. First time he's really had some proper clean air this race so far. Already 1.5 seconds as Onays and Saavedra continue to do battle. So, surprisingly technical circuit for what's only sort of 1 minute 34 lap time. It's got a lot packed into it. This circuit of Autodrom Must, as we see our race leader Toblerone comes into the pits now. Now, how much is he going to be threatened? He's just pulled the car to a stop. Toscanini coming along pit, well, not pit lane, but coming along the start-finish line now. Is this going to be Lerone? He's going to be caught up in this battle now. He's going to be coming out of pit lane as an overtake is going on. This could end potentially quite poorly. Cold brakes. He's now 3 wide through turn 1. Very, very well managed by all drivers involved there. Lerone manages actually to just about stay ahead of Saavedra, although I'm not sure Saavedra's too happy about the amount of racing room he was given there. a little bit on the sort of grass on the edge there, but a little bit push and shove in touring cars. Now, Lerone now really needs to run away because he does not want to be caught up in this gaggle. He's actually now got a pit stop pretty much on his teammate. Unfortunately, Gunyun may be carrying damage from the start incident. But you can really tell, you can just tell the difference between the tyres. You know, those fresh tyres, he's already quite comfortably pulled a gap here. Mayonnaise definitely trying to hang close. Speaking of, just a bit of a lock-up from the Saavedra there. Nothing too serious, but could potentially become a problem if it continues. Might be an overtake for the trailing Toyota. Coming into the second to last corner, as we see Toscanini now takes his pit stop. Now he isn't going to get the free pit stop like Lerone, so that puts Lerone back into the race lead. We're probably expecting probably expecting Toscanini to exit the pit lane around about Taranenko. Probably a little... Yeah, he's just started moving now. He might be just behind Taranenko. So he's got quite a bit of work to do comparative to the other drivers. However, they also all haven't pitted yet. They're all on hard tyres, most of these drivers out still now. Lerone, Toscanini, the only two in the top 10 to opt for this two-stop strategy. Meanwhile, getting very close between the Toyota and the Mercedes wagon. Saavedra once again finished finished second twice so far this season. Very strong showing from the Argentinian. Much like we have seen from Saavedra throughout his career in CTC, always very confidently in the top 5 and the top 10. Especially in previous seasons. Has been within title runs before. This could potentially be his season if he can continue the consistency. Currently looking for a third place finish if he can manage. We're going to jump a little bit further back. We're now going to see the battle between... This is basically the battle between fresh softs and quite worn hards. Now remember, these are not lapped cars, despite the difference in pace potentially on display. This is actually for positions, so Taranenko does not have to yield in any way whatsoever. It's the decision of whether it's better to battle and hope that you can actually keep the car behind that also has to do another pit stop and potentially gain a position from it, or do you let them through and kind of hope that that loses you less time if you think you've got a chance of catching the cars ahead. Now it is 11 seconds is the gap between Taranenko and Salami, so maybe not the best chance of catching. We'll have a look at last laps right now. Taranenko's lasted 35. Now that is absolutely not what Toscanini wants to see right now, especially when he's running his best lap so far this race, a 34 dead. Best lap actually almost a second and a half quicker than this slower Mercedes that he's sort of stuck behind right now. We'll see if he can get past a little bit later. Meanwhile, the battle does actually continue between Saavedra and Gunyun. I am expecting a few more pit stops this lap, so we do get a little bit closer to the halfway point of the race. Maybe not this lap, but relatively soon. I imagine anyone going for a one-stop hards will probably be considering taking them relatively shortly. Now, it is also a potential thing that we may see people opt for hard soft, in which case maybe we might see pit stops closer to the maybe lap 19. Not really too aware of the choices people are going for on pit stops. All I'm really aware of is Lerone's choice. That being said, it's battle for 9th place. We're going to jump back. We've finally... Ertel Euro Racing has finally managed to get their liveries approved. The sponsors really were not super happy about it, but they finally got them. Very distinctive, almost warning tape car for Severin Willems. We did actually speak with Willems after the not great race at Riverside. Found out that he believed that his team had fitted hard tyres onto the car, but it was actually another set of softs. And the pit crew didn't seem to think anything about maybe calling him back in to change it for another set of tyres at any point. So he's maybe hoping for a little bit of a better result here today if he can. And running 9th, looking pretty good for himself. Blanford, one of the other Fords that we've got on the grid. We've got 3 of them in total. The third is Fleck down 13th. The other Mercedes, a DTM spec as we call it. Williams' teammate not in attendance today. However, you got a little bit loose through there. That's actually allowed Blanford straight through there. So it's not going to be a straight line battle. Looks like Williams, though, has carried so much more momentum down the start-finish line. My goodness, you can really see the difference in horsepower. Very comfortably manages to get through. Blanford, though, goes very late on the brakes, manages to get stopped in time to hold the inside and gets the pass not quite done. A little bit of contact, I think, maybe just coming across there from Blanford, unfortunately. Has resulted in him spinning out there. Very unfortunate there for the Ford Sapphire. Sierra Sapphire. And now McGregor, who's again not had the best of races, unfortunately he's definitely targeting much higher up on the grid. He's now got to try and make a little bit of a move forward if he can. Again, this is about for 10th place. All drivers should score points this week, only 14 drivers. That being said, you still want to score as many as you can, even if you are relatively comfortable in scoring some. Speaking of battles, now this is another case where the engine is potentially quite different. Despite the size of that wagon, that is actually one of the lower horsepower cars on the grid, only 450 horsepower. Toyota behind rear-wheel drive, I believe 490, or at the very least, close to 500. So you can really sort of tell the difference. Mercedes managing to ironically pull in this corners a little bit over the Toyota, looking a little bit easier through them really. A lot less weight to the car, despite the size of it. But then as soon as we get to the straight line, we can really see Gunyun really just sort of shaving off those hundredths. And that's why I think on the start-finish line we see the catching happening really. So it's, for Gunyun, it's all about setting up these final 2 corners as they get to them. We're not quite through there yet though, in the S's right now. This is where Saavedra is definitely showing his strength. Saavedra throughout his CTC career very much opting for the handling characteristics of a car over raw power. Sometimes to less than successful results, but seems to be doing a great job so far this season. You can see 6/10 if we start this straight. Now it's going to be interesting to see, is that time going to sort of fall that much from that horsepower? You can see about 10th already, 2/10, but we get to the braking zone. It's not a massive straight on this circuit. It's not really enough time for these high horsepower cars to properly get to stretch the legs out. Just a very quick drink break there. We're well past halfway at this point. Again, we are expecting pit stops at some point. Now, I'm wondering if a lot of drivers are now considering, are we just going to go for softs for 10 laps? We've managed to make the hards last fairly well. Lerone only managing to pull 6 seconds on Mayonnaise, which I mean, it's still a big pull, it's a big gap. But it doesn't seem like he's quite managed to pull the same level of timeout that he managed to earlier in the race. I think Terry Nutt's sort of impromptu accidental teammate in that situation doing a great job of stopping anyone getting past. Speaking of getting past, we have now got laps driver. This is Matthew, Jossie, Flinton and the Alfa Romeo there, just going onto the sand. Hopefully just go let the Mercedes and the Toyota pass here, nice and comfortably. And that's what he's done. That has, though, allowed the Toyota the inside into this corner. But it seems like he's not quite able to do something. Maybe on the cutback, though, maybe he can get a slightly better exit. Not quite managing it. Still very, very close, though. He's managed to get up to the inside, coming up to this next right-hand. Potentially. Down the inside, looks like maybe a minor bit of contact there between the two, but I'm not sure it's anything too much. That has allowed Narigunian through, though. And Anna Taranyenko now in the pit lane. Are we going to see the drivers follow? Toscany 11 seconds is the gap that he's got now to the drivers ahead. He's really got to put in quite a big shift. I'm not sure that he's been helped at all by being stuck behind the Mercedes. It's cost him quite a bit of time, unfortunately. Now, it is interesting to see he has opted for softs. So he is going to have to pit again, as is Lerone, as is all of the rest of the drivers still going around. Just going to very quickly see if I can get for us the pit count. So that would be very useful to see. Yeah, Salami. Okay, that's just not accurate at all. We're not going to rely on that information. So I believe the only drivers to have stopped so far is Toblerone, Toscanini, Taranenko, and Salami as well. I believe those are the only drivers to have stopped so far. Svedra, Gunion, Mayonnaise all yet to pit. Lerone needs to pit one more time to complete his two-stop strategy. Jump a little bit further back, we see McGregor looking to make another pass now on Severin Willems. It's not going to be into turn one, I don't think. Anna Taranenko now out of the pits with a fresh car, hoping to make a bit of a move. McGregor alongside, nearly clear but not quite. Takes the inside line. Williams tries to get the cut back, but it's not quite that sort of corner, I don't think. Doesn't quite work out for him, but he's still really, really close. Just try and constantly take that slightly wider line, see if he can get a bit of a better launch. But I think in the end it is going to be McGregor making the overtake. I'll jump a little bit further back, because now I think unless Williams can get a nice line through here, which he actually has, he's managed to pull a lot of time there on McGregor. He's going to be down the inside, he's alongside into this next corner. Manages to keep the car under control, but S's section, very much a single line sector. At least if you don't want to lose a lot of time, it's a single line sector. So he's not going to be looking probably along the start-finish straight. Terry Nutt in the pits is just leaving them. He's going to come out of the pit lane in 6th, comfortably ahead. Salami, and there's a big off there. Severin Williams, which is going to allow Anna Taranenko a free overtake pretty much. Unfortunate for the Mercedes. The other Mercedes, I should say. We're on the C180 now. The only C180 on the grid. And on the grid this whole season. Definitely seems to be a little bit more pace coming out of this car now. Potentially there's some quite heavy aero damage that we maybe missed from the start incident. There were quite a few cars caught up in that. I know Taranenko didn't seem to qualify too much. in terms of a lap time. I believe it was potentially an invalid lap. It seems to be the diesel drivers. Quite low revving engines all this way back. Low V6s. That being said, we see Toblerone in the pit lane one more time. I'm going to jump back now because this is going to be interesting as he leaves pit lane. So he's lost a couple positions here on track. Saavedra 6 seconds ahead. Sorry, 4 seconds ahead. Now that is lapped car Patricia Fleck there, I believe. She's going to let Lerone through. Yeah. Comfortably lets him through. Toscanini is also opting to take his second pit stop. He's going to come out of the pit lane in 7th. Very clear of McGregor behind. But some work to do on Salami ahead. He's got about 8 laps to catch 7 seconds. Now, if he can pull about a second a lap, that's going to be very doable. He's not got too long to run on these tyres, and I imagine it's quite a low fuel load, so if he can pump out some quali laps, that's definitely on the table. Salami running 134.4s. He can run 33s, potentially, like Mayonnaise currently is. Current leader on the track, on hard tyres still. That could be interesting. We look at best laps one more time. We're going to see Lerone's still leader on fastest lap. However, Mayonnaise not far behind, only about 7 tenths behind. Despite all that ballast, quite impressive really. So we see Lerone now taking more time out of Saavedra. Now, we are getting to the point where, I mean, we might just see Saavedra simply not pit. I mean, he has told us before in previous rounds, very efficient engine inside that wagon Mercedes. Has done him very well previously, only maybe needing to take a couple of litres. Could be that he's actually opted to go for a fuel saving strategy, and I mean, maybe this could be second place again for him. Depending whether or not Mayonnaise needs to pit. Which, looking at the lap times, doesn't seem too likely. 33.4 last lap. That being said, it's all a fuel game at this point. So the S is definitely shaving a lot of time down. Lerone really catching Saavedra now. If we have a quick look, last few laps, you can see basically a second last lap that he gained on Saavedra. Maybe Saavedra having a bit of an off. Both cars actually quite slow last lap. 35.7 last lap. I think this is Lerone much closer to his usual pace. And what lap time is that going to be? That's going to be... yeah. Sorry, no, I've been reading that wrong. I do apologise. Let me try and get this the correct way around. There we go. That's much better. So yeah, Lerone actually 1.68 seconds quicker last lap. Do apologise. I've got the timings the wrong way around. Saavedra very consistent though. 34.414 twice in 4 laps. 34.491, 34.758, lap 20. So very, very consistent. That said though, Lerone really has the pace to get past here. I mean, we might just see Saavedra just not fight it too hard. I mean, it's a big... Yep, lets him through. Not entirely sure if that was a lift there, but I wonder if he's just saying, you know, you go through, I'm going to just follow you, try and lose as little time as I can. See if you can maybe catch on Mayonnaise if Mayonnaise is needing to pit again. Not too many battles down the rest of the grid. It seems to have spread out a little bit now, but Taranenko is looking to get ahead of McGregor here. Let's have a look at the gaps. Pretty close between the two drivers. Both quite consistent in their current lap times. This again could come down to whose tyres are worn down first. Or who makes the mistake first, I suppose I should say. Now the Honda is an all-wheel drive, the Honda Accord. C180 is a rear-wheel drive, the red Mercedes behind. So we will probably get a good idea of the difference in where these two cars excel. Really loose from the Mercedes there through the final corner. Maybe getting a little bit too happy on the throttle. Bit of slipstream, a little bit of power. Some gaps fairly stable at half a second right now. So this race pretty much comes down to, does Mayonnaise need to pit again? If they do, that'll be probably Toblerone with the win. If they don't, and that is the important thing, if they don't, then they've actually got a 7-second win out of all this on the two-stop hards. Looks like Joshy Flinton in the Alfa Romeo on the outside, maybe a small mistake, maybe just letting them through. That has, for whatever reason, shaken the confidence of Taranenko behind. Now a second gap. It's going to be a lot of work to catch that. Only 4 laps left pretty much for the two drivers. Oh, let's have a look. Let's not have a look on board. All of the cameras seem to have been shaken loose in one of the crashes. They all seem to be in the footwell of the Sierra. Again, very, very good drive from Mayonnaise. If they don't need to pit again. They're 33.4 fastest. 37 fastest from Lerone. Have a look at the current lap times. Lerone is actually gaining quite considerable pace right now. From the looks of the last lap comparison. 37 last lap. 33 for Mayonnaise. So it's not necessarily off for Lerone to take this win. Maybe some fuel saving coming in for Mayonnaise. I'm going to go on board now for a little bit in the MR2. Just get a bit of an idea what it's like for the Toyotas around this track. So we come around to start first lap round here on board. And just see how much effort's going into getting this thing around the track. It's really trying to track down Mayonnaise ahead. So looking to brake just as the banners stop on the right, the purple banners stop. Coming through the chicane. Nice and low RPM to manage the torque on exit, not too much wheel spin through there. Following on this left curb. Coming on to the right, trying to straight line the braking zone, gets close to the sausage curb without hitting it as possible. Sacrifice the line through there a little bit for the S's. Into the sort of quite awkward hairpin here that's into a very long run, so you want to really make sure you don't mess up your exit too much there. It can cost quite a few tenths in this flat run. Quickly onto the brakes a little bit. This right-hander. And straight back on the power. Yet another slightly awkward speed right-hander. A little bit slower than you maybe think it is as you enter it. So then we're in the Suzuka S's, or very close to. And then the final two corners, just coming up now, which is a nice little sort of heavy braking zone here. Pushing out wide, using as much of the tarmac as we can. Getting close to the curb. Once again, use as much of the curb on the left without touching the sand. Now it does seem last lap, actually, these two drivers now matching. 33.2 from Lerone. 5 seconds back. Looks like Mayonnaise, again, Now, they did start very far back and end up quite far forward, so there's potential that they may be involved partially in some of the accidents at the start of the race. But ignoring that, potentially a race win for Mayonnaise. Which after the drop round of last week of a DNF, definitely something they'd quite like to see. So Lerone right now just really try to push as hard as he can. I mean, he does have the pace, but it's definitely not enough without mistakes ahead, or without another pit stop ahead. Now, speaking of mistakes, and hopefully trying to get back forward, Toscanini is sort of really hoping for Salami to make a mistake right now, if he can, as they catch Patricia Fleck. Just a little bit of traffic mismanagement here could be what does it and allows Zorella Toscanini to both get a little bit leery on exit there. Toscanini opting to follow as close as he can to Salami. Both cars looking to get past Patricia Fleck here. Down the inside. Nice and clear. Good traffic management from everyone there. He's right on the tail of Salami here. See if we can get a nice angle of the car ahead. Yeah, it's really, really quite a tricky one to weigh up here, because I think Salami has the power to hold it going through this first corner. I'm going to go back to off-board shots just quickly for this. Yeah, Toscanini actually just about maintaining that gap. Maybe a slight gain as we get a little bit further into the straight. But not able to make a move, so it is going to be through one of the corners here if Toscanini wants to make the move forward. For 6th place. It's coming to the closing stage of this race. Only 2 laps left to get a move done now. For 6th place. As we did see from the onboard of Toblerone, quite a technical, tricky circuit. Not too many places you can get a move done that aren't going to be sort of awkward. Or using all of the track and a little bit more there from Toscanini. I think he really knows he's not got long left to make a move here. As Mayonnaise crosses the start-finish line to mark the final lap for the lead lap drivers, which I believe is everybody down to 11th place. 12th place, this is their final lap. Toscanini now alongside, on the outside though, maybe not quite alongside enough to make anything out of it, but he's going to be just constant pressure on Salami is what he's hoping for as we go into this final lap. He's a little bit closer this time. Seems to have got a bit more of a better exit through here. Only 2/10 back, right in the slipstream. This turn 1 could be what causes it to be a purple car in 6th, or a white, well, multicoloured car in 6th. Beautiful livery on that BMW. A very distinctive and likewise beautiful purple livery on the Opel. The Calibra. Interestingly, all of the Opel Tigras absent from this round, I believe. Maybe they have formed a bit of a a bit of a coup against the track selection. Toscanini now managing to get alongside once again into this section. Holding it around the outside, he's hoping that he can bring it around as it switches around. Gets past, not quite clear though, as we go back into the right-hander. Around the outside, holds it, is now ahead of Salami, just needs to hold this position. But Salami already back alongside on the left-hand side, he's on the outside coming to this next section. However, only 2 corners left. This could be to the line. Both alongside. Salami just needs a good exit here, and he might be able to pull it back. I'm not sure quite where the start finish is. Toscanini pulls desperately to the side, but that is going to be Toscanini taking 6th place there. Very good battle between the two drivers. But that is a win for Mayonnaise. 2nd place for Toby Larone. Saavedra takes 3rd. Goon Yoon takes 4th. Nut in 5th. Toscanini 6th. Gregor 7th. I believe some of the drivers have now disconnected. Do still have a few drivers, I think, still crossing the line. There's Blanford. Severin Williams. Willems, sorry. Getting a little bit loose. Again, great to finally see the driver with the correct livery. Well, a livery, let's say. As he crosses the line. And Matthew Joshua Flinton comes across the line there. That is all of the drivers finished. Well driven by all involved. We've got a little bit of a... There you go, a little bit of a shot of the three Fords. Definitely the race going a lot better for one than the other two there. However, as of the time of the race and the unofficial race results, that is a race win for Mayonnaise. As usual, we always have a lot of stewarding to do afterwards. Lots of results edited from Riverside in the slightly lower order of the field. But that finishes our time here today at Autodrom Most and our first half of our 1994 season. So we will not be here next week. However, in 2 weeks' time, 8 PM BST, let's just double check that. We will still be in BST, I'm pretty sure. Yeah, until October, so the whole season will be in BST, so 8 PM BST. You will find us at the Nordschleife, which will be quite exciting. Possibly the most requested circuit we've ever had, really. Hoping to see some good attendance there. Followed by Spa the week after, in 3 weeks from now. And Interlagos will be our final round of this season, this 1994 season. As always, if you are interested in joining us, we have the Discord. You can find the link in the YouTube description. Thank you all very much for tuning in for the race. And hopefully see you in 2 weeks' time. Thank you very much, and have a good evening.